Hello everybody, it's Cool P once again with part 4 of my Sunday grind, playing the Poker Maximus main event and a couple other tournaments. If you haven't checked out the series, you can start at part 1 or you can start right here. You go back to part 3. I don't really care, it's just what you want to get out of it. I guess I'll quickly go over the tournaments if you are just joining me. This tournament, there's 106 players left out of 768. I am in 60th. It is 20K guarantee, $33 buy-in. Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle of the pack, looking to make a run. This tournament right here, I got extremely lucky to stay in. If you saw it, my 8s went up against 10s, and I was able to double up against the guy. So I got very lucky to still be in, but I am still alive. 50K guarantee. It's the mini main event for the Poker Maximus. I'm in 215th out of 1,541 players left. So although I've gotten very fortunate so far, I still have a very, very, very long way to go. Down here, we are 1 out of the money. I am in 13th out of 37, top 36 pay. Started with 378 players. It was just, I believe, a $15 buy-in, 55K guarantee, or I wish, 5.5K guarantee, so $5,500 guarantee. And so I'm close to the money, but smaller tournament, but you know, still kind of fun to make it this far. And lastly, but the opposite of least, the Maximus main event is down here. I am currently 915th out of 1,481 players left. So kind of in the bottom middle of the pack. This, I believe I need to shove on this guy. Especially blind versus blind with jacks. I don't want to call and give him a chance to hit something. And he decided to go in with a not very strong hand. I'm actually kind of surprised he decided to do that. But there goes a lot of my good fortune. And he hit it on me, but that's okay. Happens, I got fortunate earlier, so it's just going to kind of happen to you. It's a frustrating point to have it happen when you've made it past 660 players and you're fighting down to get to the money, but I believe the money was just about to hit in that one too. But you know, I'm surprised he went with King Jack there. I would have think he would have folded, or at least thought his plan out a little bit better. But oh well. Let's find another tournament to play. That's a good one. I could play the Turbo, or I could play the Freeze. Play this one. Let's see. Let's go with. I'm gonna kind of force this guy to want to be Bubble Boy if he wants to go along with me. Kind of what I'm thinking. He's pretty short, but you know, if he folds, he probably won't be Bubble Boy, and if he goes with it, he might be. And a lot of people aren't going to really be paying attention to it too much, but when it's like this, you will be Bubble Boy if you lose, and if you fold, you're almost definitely not going to be. It's kind of hard to have someone go against you in kind of an iffy situation. So this new one's just a 3K guarantee, $30 buy-in. Should get 150, 200 players. So it kind of fits my bracket of playing really well, so I like it. Oh, excuse me. I just called because of the odds, and I have a decent hand, and I'm trying to get in a situation where I can try to win the pot, but other than if a 9 comes, I don't see a lot happening with this pot for me. Kind of want to join a couple other tournaments, but at the same time, I got behind when I was playing 5 before, so I don't. Kind of makes me not want to join another one. But I think I will. I think I can handle 5 tournaments. I should be able to handle 5. And my stats are working fine, which is awesome. And which hasn't been the case for a long time. I've always been having trouble with them recently. Let's see, I gotta raise this one. But I don't have to go all in against that guy. Although I shouldn't be all that mad because I've gotten very fortunate so far today. That Jacks versus King Jack hand does kind of sting. I mean, it always stings to lose that late in a tournament in a fashion like that. You know, I had plenty of chips. It would have put me in a great spot. I guess I'm just kind of surprised how much it stings. What is this thing that they have? Poker Maximus? I don't even know what that means. I mean, I'm guessing it's some kind of Roman word or something like that, but I don't know how to pronounce it and I don't know what it means, so I'm not going to try, and I don't want to embarrass myself anymore, and I already have. Although embarrassing yourself isn't necessarily a bad thing to do. I'm going to wait just so we can try to fill this table a little bit. Although actually it might not fill up until I actually start playing. Or I mean the next hand starts. No. So I am in the money in this tournament, so I've at least cashed today, which is good. Not any amazing accomplishment at all, but it's nice to cash. I've definitely had days where I played lots of tournaments and not cash, and that can be very not only frustrating but disheartening. I'll just call. I got lots of chips, I can just call. Some big stacks going around. Huh. Almost hit it. There's a big difference between almost hitting something and actually getting something in poker, though, isn't there? 4 flush and a 4 straight doesn't do a lot for you. That's an interesting card because it does give me what is most likely the best hand, but it puts 3 spades on the board and it puts 3, 4, 5 on the board. So it's a good card, at least from where it looks now it's a good card, but it's a card that could end up hurting me really bad if things turn out bad. I mean, and this river card can change things quite a bit. That's a weird bet. Man, I just don't have a strong enough hand to raise because of the possibilities of straights and all sorts of flushes and stuff. So, especially with that 7 hitting. That's too bad. At 4 cost. Well, I guess it was more the 7 costing me money. Yeah, he had a pretty good. Yeah, I'm thinking if raising more on the turn would have helped me, but it wouldn't have because he had the ace of spades. So he had tons of. He could have hit a 2 to have the wheel. Could have hit a 7 to have the hand that he did have, or he could have hit a spade. Actually, the 2 wouldn't have given the wheel. The 2 would have given him 6 high straight. And he also had the ace of spades to get the nut flush. So he had a pretty good hand on the turn. So raising more wouldn't have helped. I was very glad I decided to just call. It would have been a really dumb move to raise there. Thought about it briefly just because I briefly didn't realize the 6 made a straight. and was thinking he still needed 2 cards to make a straight. But that was just my mind not working for a little while. But, oh jeez, I can't do anything with that. I almost want to just shove. Yeah, I just want to... I think this is the best way in a turbo. I like this play. I don't typically... I mean, every once in a while I'll do this. But I just feel like it's the best chance to get someone to kind of go crazy is to just give them the opportunity to. Instead of just trying to squeeze out profit. I feel like often this is kind of the best way to do it. It's kind of a weird play. I've gotten it to work sometimes, and trying to gauge the EV of this compared to the EV of making a smaller raise is very hard to do. That's a very difficult thing. I mean, you can't get exact with it, first of all, but to really analyze, well, what is my EV here and what is my EV if I just make a small raise, it's so hard because of the variables of what the flops are going to happen and all sorts of... It's too impossible to really analyze mathematically. You can use mathematic stuff to help you with it and to make it an easier problem, but it's ultimately going to come down to what you think the odds are that someone's going to call you and how much money you think you can make if you just make a standard raise. So, and in these kind of tournaments, especially kind of turbo stuff, I feel like me making that play, it looks crazy, but it's not super crazy. And if someone has, you know, jacks or better or ace king, I don't think they're folding. But if I just raise, they're not re-raising me. So if they're not re-raising me, it's going to be really hard to extract the rest of the value because their hand's only going to get weaker unless they hit something that beats me. Like, their hand's not going to get any closer to my hand without beating me. So unless I hit an ace and they hit a jack or something like that, if they have jacks. So I might as well try to get all the money in when our hands are, when I have a huge advantage over their hand, but they're as close in absolute value as possible. I hope that made sense. I think it did. I can almost call this. I don't think I quite can, though. I mean, he doesn't have that many blinds. Man, I think I can call this. It's a little bit loose for me, but so that was off. Oh jeez, I just folded. It's the second time I've done something like that, and now I kind of threw away this tournament a little bit. That was a bad sequence of events for me. Man, that was... See, whenever I try to kind of get a little... I mean, that wasn't exactly aggressive, but whenever I try to get out of my comfortable kind of, I don't know what to do, I just kind of pass on stuff. Whenever I try to get out of that, I feel like it bites me like it did just there. So that makes me want to stay in it. Just stay comfortable and don't try to do plays that are a little bit outside of what I think is the safe, easy play to make. Still alive, I guess. I got ways to go for the next money jump. I mean, really what I need to do is just hope to double up a couple more times and get back into it. I've definitely come back from lower, so... I'm mad I folded jacks here. I mean, I've done that. I folded those kings early. It's just been bad. You know, I can't afford to do that kind of stuff. I'm a winning player, but I'm not someone who can just win based off of me showing up. I gotta actually play well to win, so doing stuff like that just kind of kills my edge. The small edge that I do have. That's kind of true for any player. I mean, even if you know, some of the best players in the world just show up, they're not going to win. I mean, you got to play your best game to have any sort of chance. I mean, you don't have to play your best game to win, but you have to really kind of focus and play well. If you're ever playing bad, no matter how good you are, if you're playing bad for yourself, you're just not going to do well. I got myself in a decent spot to try to get back in this thing, I guess. It's getting worse and worse, though. And I'm done with that one, unfortunately. That was a dumb way to finish that tournament. I should have been a little smarter. It was getting pretty short, but you know, I didn't need to throw it all on me hoping my ace-10 would beat his king-queen, hoping that's what he had. You know, that was... I was a little bit too hasty and just kind of going on a limb there. So a lot of my good fortune has not turned into much so far. Had that very unfortunate jacks versus king jack hand. I think that was in this video at the very beginning. And then I kind of threw away that other tournament. Well, I kind of half threw it away. I'm going to be right there occasionally. But even when I am right, I'm not going to be in a great spot. And I think that's what the big mistake I made was. I mean, he might do that with some worse aces, but it's better to kind of hang on and try to steal some blinds and look for a better spot than that, really. I wouldn't have done it if he was in second position, but I do know people get desperate in the very first position before the blinds. He wasn't quite short enough to be there yet, and I kind of thought that's what he was doing, and that was a big mistake by me thinking he was getting that desperate. So he wasn't quite that desperate yet, and I shouldn't have thought he was. I think I tried to do what I did to everybody else. I don't know if he had the same type of hand as I did, but it's possible. It's an interesting hand to get, and this is a big tournament here, so I gotta focus on this. I definitely want to bet this out. I got straight draw, I mean, and a pair. I got a pretty strong hand there. That's a good card for me. It just kind of makes it less likely someone has a, unless, you know, might kill my straight, but I could just kind of shove here. I think that looks a little bit more obvious, though. But I am kind of going with this spot. That's a good call by me. Bad flop. Well, actually, no, good flop, ace. And a bad river. Well, I'm going with it. I mean, I can't fold now. He probably has a 6. Or he has a boat, which kills me. And that kills my chance at 70 grand or whatever it was. So that was bad. And yeah, that was not... I should have thought more about why that guy called in that spot. I can call this guy. He's 3-betting me. I'm just going to get out because I'm not thinking straight. That's, you know, I don't think I played that hand well. I should have kind of reevaluated things after they both called on the flop. Oh, wait. I didn't even read my hand right. That was really dumb of me. Yeah, I had 4-7. I mean, it doesn't change a ton, but it just shows how poorly I played that, I guess. I was thinking I had 5-7. So 4-7's a much worse hand there because you know, it loses to a pair of fives, which is why it's a much worse hand. So, man, I can't believe I missed such a easy detail like that, but maybe it means I should stop signing up for new tournaments. And my good fortune is hasn't produced any results. So that's a disappointing way to end that tournament. I mean, it'd been fun to make a run into the money and stuff. I still got this one, but this is still over 1,000 players left. So I'll be playing this one late into the night if I make it far in it. So I can keep signing up for tournaments because I got a long ways to go if I do end up making a run. I haven't played a long grind in a while, so fatigue is starting to set in a little bit, and I might stop recording for a period of time because of that. Just because it is a little exhausting to constantly talk about stuff. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm gonna keep going for now, definitely. Looking for other tournaments that look good. Can't find anything I really like. I found a couple that I kind of like. I'll do this one. It hasn't started yet, but it'll start soon. That's a little bit too big of a race for me to go along with. Good pull by me. Although, yeah, I would have been done for if I called with the 7 and the 9. Kidding, I would have hit a second set to his top set. So, man, I'm just frustrated with myself. I think I mean, the first tournament I lost was the Jacks vs. King Jack. I can't be disappointed about that. Second one, I made a very loose call with Ace 10. Kind of just being reading the situation poorly, thinking the other guy was more desperate than he was. And maybe I would have been right a couple times, and but I still think it was a very, very ambitious play to try to make. And usually when I get ambitious, it bites me. It's not a good. It's bad whenever I try to get kind of ambitious with things like that. So that's a little bit frustrating. And then losing with that 7-4, that really gets me, because just not even analyzing that, I thought I had 7-5 the whole time. It's just kind of, wow, that was a huge mistake, and that can really kill me. And I do think I would have slowed down quite a bit if I thought I had 7-4. I don't know if I would have or not. I might have played it similarly, but I kind of felt like I probably have the best hand with a pair of 5s, and I also got the draw. And then I just kind of sped up for some reason. I just kind of was like, well, I'm going for it at this point, and I don't know why. I just kind of decided I'm not getting out of the way of this hand. So that's really where I made the big mistake, was I just kind of decided, well, I'm going for it with this hand, and I stopped kind of analyzing and just kind of started making plays that would eventually lead to me getting all in, drawing dead. So that's not good. That's never good to do, and that's frustrating. And it was in a big tournament, so That makes it even more frustrating, I think. But I gotta kind of recompose, and I mean, I'm still doing really well in this tournament, even if it doesn't quite feel like it right now. We've knocked out almost 4,000 players, so that's something right there. Kind of a weird pot, but it's so small I don't really get a sense of urgency to do much about it. Okay. Ace King. Make a standard raise here. Well, I guess a small raise. I don't know, that is fairly standard, I guess. That's actually about as standard as you can get. 2.5. One call on the button, hit top pair with clubs. Let me think. I was trying to think a step ahead, and that's where the rust really hurts me. Is it takes a long time to think a step ahead, and it gets real fuzzy really quick. What I was trying to do there was thinking, how should I play this if he has a hand that he wants to kind of raise me? So like I have Ace King there. I don't know exactly what he has. I don't know if he has a club, you know. I need to protect myself. I have too many blinds to just throw it all in there against anything, because you could already have a flush, you could have king, queen. So I can't just blindly throw it all in there and be willing to. So I'm trying to think, how can I best protect myself? How can I maximize value and all those things? And I'm trying to think, if I bet here and he raises me, do I go all in? If I check here and kind of try to get him to bet, like I'm trying to think that step ahead. Play the hand out a little bit beforehand to see what I would do in these different situations, and that's where I'm really slow right now. Whoops, another tournament just popped up. That's where I'm really slow, and it hurts me in spots like that because I'm trying to bet size correctly in terms of how I'm gonna react if he does certain things, and can I make a bet size here where if he goes over the top, it's a really good move for me to go all in, or is that not the case? You know, is there no sizing I can make that really makes that work? If there is a sizing, then you know I want to pursue it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to call again here. I'm really close to having a good hand, but I have a really bad hand. You know, so, and you only have so much time to act, and you know, it's kind of something you just get comfortable with after playing so much. You go, well, you can analyze it so quickly, and you know, I've been playing very sporadically over the last couple months, and it's made it hard for me to analyze those situations quick enough to do my best in them. And I used to be able to analyze them quick enough to where I really knew what I was doing, and I knew my plan as soon as I saw the flop and I saw the chip stacks, and I knew, and I wasn't perfect with it, I was always learning, but it was a lot easier. This guy's been in a lot of the recent pots, but my stats on him say that he doesn't typically do this, so I don't know what to make of that. See, that's another good thing about stats. It keeps you from just keeping in your mind the few hands you've actually seen. You know, I've witnessed 3 pots that he's either called my raise or raised pre-flop, and it's been within 4 or 5 hands. So, you know, if I was just casually observing, I'd be like, hey, this guy in every single pot. But I've played 100 hands with him, and it says he's entered, his VP is only 13%. And his pre-flop raise is 10%. And if anything, those numbers are on the conservative side rather than the aggressive wild side. So, you know, that's another benefit of stats. They kind of bring you back to what's really going on instead of just seeing a couple of pots and thinking, oh, that's how this guy plays. And then having to reanalyze after you've gotten more information. Trying to keep the pot small enough. I mean, I am a little bit concerned. I don't like this very much at all. Oh my gosh, what have I done? Wow, what have I done? Gotten myself in a mess of a spot. God, this is horrible. Just horrible. A mix of... He just had a pair of sixes. Is that really what... Did he show sixes? Yeah. Oh, he hit a set of sixes on the turn. That's what happened. Jeez, the min raise? What are you doing with the min raise? Oh my gosh, that's throwing me off like crazy. Just forget it. I'm not going to throw all my chips at this pot. I don't know how to play against that raise right now. I wish I had a plan for it, but I just simply didn't. And it's frustrating because I think I threw away a spot where I could have done something, but... Now, why am I making a small bet here? A couple of reasons. It gives them a chance to fold in this crazy board. Makes it so I don't have to call. And I'm kind of bluffing and protecting myself from having to make a call at the same time. But that makes me feel like there's no way I can call. I did not expect him to make a min raise unless he had something really big. So I don't know if if things are just not going my way right now, or if I'm playing horribly. It's hard to tell. Because I know a couple of the hands recently I've played really badly. And that was obviously an interesting bet to make, but I liked my idea behind the bet of forcing him to make the play. The problem I did is I didn't really put him on much of a hand. I just kind of saw he was betting and thought, well, he's got something, but I don't know how good that something is or what that something is. And that's really the mistake I made, was just kind of playing on his... what... You got to take the abstract and make it specific. You got to take the abstract aggression of he's representing something strong and turn it into specifically what can that mean. Does that mean this hand, that hand? And you got to get specific with it. And when you don't do that, it puts you in this nowhere land of all you're doing is playing into exactly what the other person wants, because you're playing into what they're representing. And you have to analyze the story and see if what they're representing really works. And if it doesn't really work, that's where you can go, oh, hey, something's wrong here. I can exploit that. But if they're really good, they'll make a story that really does work, and you'll have to get out of the way. But, you know, if you can make those stories really work, then they'll have to get out of the way. And it's whoever can kind of tell a better story can get away with it more often. And you can't just willy-nilly go, well, this time I think he's lying. You got to have a reason, or you're just kind of throwing money at random, just hoping. And, You know, that's no better than playing roulette or something like that. And the problem is when you don't take the abstract and turn it into something more specific, you get into situations like what I've been doing recently where I'm going, well, that guy's got something kind of strong and kind of in this range of ideas. And so if I do this play, then it kind of makes it so you can't. But it's so non-concrete that I'm just in this wishy-washy where I kind of decide to do whatever and kind of make it work with however I'm feeling. And you don't want to take the abstract and make it specific in a sense of like you have to guess his exact hand, but you got to guess like this hand's a possibility, that hand's a possibility, this hand was a possibility. And you get these ranges of things that they could be doing, and you kind of play the percentages of, well, it's likely he has this, and it's unlikely he has this, and he could have, and like it's very unlikely he has this, but there's nothing else he could really have. And you kind of go against what the likely situation is, and then you keep the other situations in your mind to kind of also play into it, and you kind of do this quick calculation in your brain of what makes sense depending on the odds of the situation that of the cards that he actually holds. I'm saying a mess right now, but the actual cards that he has 2 specific cards, but you don't know what they are, and you kind of hopefully that will be somewhere in your range of thinking of what he has, and there's a percentage chance of each of those hands. Some of them you beat, some of them you don't beat, some of them you can bluff off, some of them he's going to bluff you with, and you got to kind of take all those situations into account. And it's not as complicated as I'm making it sound, because as a hand plays out, it really narrows down the possibilities of what you can do, what they can do, how their hands relate to yours. And it's a really difficult idea to eventually kind of get down, but if you've been around poker for a long time, you should at least understand what I'm saying if it's coherent at all. If you're a new player, it might be a little overwhelming to think about all the stuff I'm talking about, and if it is, just don't worry about it. You'll get to it eventually. If you're an expert player, you're probably critiquing what I said and saying, he's got it all wrong, and he's explaining this really stupidly, and I kind of am, and I know I kind of am, but I don't know how else to say it. But there's some general ideas in what I was saying that was definitely correct. I don't know why lock lets you play blind. It's a weird thing to do online, because nobody knows you're doing it, and you've already seen your hand. So who would start playing like this one? I know what I have ace-9 and I'm going all in with it, but why can I, just because I don't want to like look at what I'm doing? If my friend comes over, I don't want him to see my, like, what's the point of being able to do this lock poker? I can only see it getting frustrated for someone who accidentally did this and doesn't know what's going on. Is the only thing I can see happening. I don't. Why did you take the time to program that into your software? I'm just making fun, but I just think it's interesting. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna play this hand blind too. I understand if like you could announce that you're gonna play a hand blind up front or something, it would actually do that. I think that'd be a bad thing to implement into the software, but there would actually be a reason behind that. But here, nobody knows you're doing it. You've already seen your hand, so you can't just like say, I want to play this hand blind so it doesn't mess me up, and it doesn't like, I want to shove in this spot. Like, I'm going to open shove no matter what I get dealt, and I don't even want to see it because I don't want to think about doing something different. That actually has some sort of application. Doing this does it. It just, I don't know who the programmer, I mean, I don't want to talk bad about whoever did it, but I don't understand the reason for putting that in. Maybe there is none. Maybe somebody just thought, hey, there's a button you can press and we'll make it do this. Gotta make it somewhat sizable bit just to try to get some chips in the pot. The only reason I even think about calling this is because it's a turbo. No, I definitely can't call it. I'm glad I didn't, but it would have been good to have. I would have lost on the river, so I'm double glad I didn't, because it would have been a bad play, and I would have lost the tournament. So I got a question for all you poker players out there. Once you see what would have happened, does it make you want to, like, let's say there's a play that was kind of questionable and you decide to go one way, and it turns out you were right, like kind of like there. It turns out I was right, but you see the flop and the river and everything end up coming up, and it turns out you made the right play in terms of what the other person had, but you would have sucked out and ended up winning anyways. Are you glad you made the play you did, or do you wish you made the stupid play? Me personally, I'm glad I made the play I did, because, you know, a lot of people say it's better to be lucky than good, and I understand that, but I don't really sense there is luck in poker. I think there's variance in poker. But, you know, would you rather... I would rather just make the right play, and if I can consistently do that, I know the results are going to follow eventually. I don't feel good about making the wrong play and then end up getting lucky and winning that way, because I feel like my results, I can't rely on my results at that point. I'm just trying to get lucky to win, and I can't expect to have good results in the future if that's going on. But if I make the right play more often, I can expect to have better results in the future. So I don't know if that because it doesn't really make me happy to, or it doesn't make me, I'm happy I folded even if I know I would have won the pot. And I feel like most people aren't. I feel like most poker players are upset because they go, look at this pot I could have won if I had made the wrong play. This is an interesting thing. He has like a perfect stack to shove on me, and I don't think I can call with the strength of a hand, so I'm really hoping he doesn't shove on me. Yeah, and he does. Yeah, see, that was a good play by him, because he has a really good stack to shove. Just chip-wise, I don't quite have enough to make the call. He did think about it for a long time, which is kind of giving me second thoughts, making me think he was analyzing the chip stacks and stuff, and didn't have that strong of a hand. The problem is I really dislike this hand going all in, because there's so many hands that ace-jack, ace-queen, king-queen, king-jack, so many hands that he's shoving with here that really have me killed. So having open cards isn't very likely. Well, it is likely, but it's not a... You know, if I had, 7-8, there's more chances I have two undercards, but there's a lot less chances he has me killed, because, king-8, ace-8, he's not doing it quite as often. He's not shoving back at me quite as often with those hands. Ace-7, king-7, queen-7, I have more chances to be kind of in between his cards, and... Or, just to have open cards with something like that. Or, even 4-5 is maybe even better. Because I'm almost guaranteed to have two lower cards. But, I wouldn't say it's better, but it has the advantage of very likely having two open cards. The problem with a hand like 4-5 is, if he has pocket 6s or pocket 7s, you're pretty much dead. Against queen-jack, it's a coin flip, so you'd obviously rather have queen-jack than 4-5, but I don't like those spots with queen jack very often. It's very often in a really rough spot. But I do get too conservative, and I kind of forget the pot odds, and sometimes I forget how much equity 30% actually has. It's one of the big mistakes I make. Um, I think his range has a lot of hands that have me killed, and then the other hands I'm kind of a 50-50 or 60-40 with him. And I kind of start thinking that stuff, and I'm pretty far behind, and the odds aren't great. So see, like this is Queen Jack, it's getting killed, although it hit his Jack. But pre-flop it was killed. See, they're going. I forget how much of an, 30% does have a decent chance, and I forget that sometimes. I think that if I have Queen Jack and I'm going up against an Ace Queen, I might as well just give up because, I feel like I have no equity in that pot if I'm trying to go all the way, and that's not true at all. I have a lot of equity. And then I have even more because that's about the worst situation I can be in. And, it's only going to get better with the other possibilities. So. Well, we're under 1,000 players now. Still got a very long ways to go. And this tournament, actually, first place is a lot, but it's not it's $7,000, which is a lot. But it's nothing immense. It's not 5 figures or anything. But it would definitely be exciting to make a big run in this tournament. I don't particularly like that flop, and I don't particularly like that call. And I don't particularly like him waiting around and making a bet. I was probably going to make a continuation bet if he checked, but I felt like that kind of killed his... The queen and the 10 looked like cards he could definitely have. I didn't like that at all. I didn't like where that flop ended up. So... texture was not my favorite of that flop, I don't think. Whew. Excuse me. Oh, so apparently this tournament didn't quite hit its guarantee. And out of a $50,000 guaranteed prize pool, they had to add $370. Wow. That's kind of funny. They were 37 players away, or I guess, yeah, 37 players away from making it out of, they hit 4,963 players. They needed 37 more to match the guarantee. Now they ended up making plenty of money on it because everybody pays an extra $1. So they made they came out well. Log Poker did on that tournament, but I still think that's kind of funny. Tournament I like to play, so I'll play it because I like this one. It's kind of expensive. It's actually more expensive than all the other ones I've played today, but I like it. I actually raised the buy-in of it a little bit. It's a turbo 1 rebuy 1 add-on tournament. kind of a fun structure. It's kind of a good structure. I do pretty well. I usually make it at least somewhat far in them. I'm just pretty short. This wasn't a great spot to get in, but it's decent because if I can take the blinds, it's significant, and yeah, that's mainly the reason why taking the blinds is somewhat significant at this point. So any chance I have to do that and be somewhat protected, I should do it. And I ended up in a coin flip. High card. So club's good too. Yeah, club's good. That's kind of funny to me for some reason. I wanted a high card because I could counterfeit a sevens with it, but I wasn't even thinking the clubs. Well, I wanted a high card not only because I could counterfeit the sevens, but because, you know, king and a queen were high cards. He gave me more else than a high card. But I was happy with the clubs, so don't take that. I called here because of pot odds. It just was pretty cheap to see a flop with a hand that has some potential to do something. It's so cheap to get in right now with a hand like sixes. It makes sense. I don't like limping and calling and stuff like that, but it just kind of makes sense here, to me at least. I think to most people it does. I don't really either see the sense in raising all that much. That doesn't make a ton of sense to me. I don't like just calling in, getting in pots, and you know, I think people, the implied odds of stuff like that has gone down and down and down over the years because people are kind of watching for people set mining and stuff. So there's still times to do it, reasons to do it, but I think the value has gotten smaller and smaller as time's gone on. Here I just don't have enough chips to do much else, and I got a strong hand, so, and I won a coin flip. That's all that happened. I just won a coin flip. Nothing else interesting happened. I didn't have to get all that lucky. I just won a coin flip. After that said, I got pretty lucky. Well, we'll see what happens. Going on break soon. I think I'm actually going to, I'll play this hand out. I think I'll probably stop the next, I'll probably wait a little while. I don't know why I 3-bet there. I didn't really think about that. I kind of hope he folds so it doesn't look like I was really dumb. Well, I pretty much got one shot to take this, and that's doing this. Okay, I don't look super stupid because it worked, but that was a really, really bad play. I played that hand really badly, but it worked out. I've been doing that a lot and saying that on Twitch. I'm probably gonna, I won't start the next video right after the break. I'm getting a little tired of talking so much, so I'll start it probably after a while into the next the round, but I won't be in the same position and stuff like that. So you know, thank you guys very much for watching. I will come out with the part 5 though, so yeah, I'll see you guys there.